It's that time of the year. As I frequent Starbucks with my sleepy head this morning, I was delighted to see one of my two favorite drinks of the year, pumpkin spice latte, will be back on October 2nd. Yup, Halloween is fast approaching. And we shall talk about the Halloween indicator. Counting down to Q4 as the major indices in the US attempt to reverse the pattern of a September decline, the Dow is closing at another record high. How are stocks positioning as the crucial fourth quarter gets underway? With just one trading day left in September, we have had a winning run for markets this month. Investors seem to be shrugging off worries over what's been a historically weak September month. The three indices are on track for their first September gain since 2019. So what happened to seasonality? So September has been a terrible month for the markets for the past 5 years. This September, not as much. The main driver of the advances was the central bank easing from the US to China. We did have a major Fed event, a 50 basis point cut in interest. And we did have a major China stimulus after years in waiting. Other central banks around the world, Switzerland, Mexico, and other emerging market nations were also cutting interest rates during this week. So central banks are providing much relief and stimulus. If you believed in the market timing proverb sell in May and go away, when should you return to stocks? This seasonal pattern, which is characterized by 6 months on and 6 months off, is commonly known as the Halloween indicator. The Halloween indicator, also referred to as the Halloween effect or Halloween strategy, is defined in Investopedia as the Halloween strategy is a market timing strategy. It is based on the hypothesis that stocks perform better from October 31st, Halloween, to May 1st than the rest of the year. The Halloween strategy posits that it is prudent to buy stocks in November, hold them through the winter months, and sell them in April while investing in other asset classes from May through October. The Halloween strategy does have evidence that is worth taking into account. Historical stock returns mostly support that investors have seen larger capital gains in November through April than in other months of the year based on the Halloween strategy's premise. The graph on Investopedia displays the Halloween effect for U.S. stocks for the comparable periods from 1970 to 2017 and 1991 to 2017. It indicates that the return on the S&P 500 is much higher from November through April than it is from May through October. However, this year, as of September 28th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has delivered around 12% in return since May 1st. So, is there a reason to give up on this strategy, just because the stock market this summer has been as strong as it has? An article in Forbes published on September 25th, 2024 by Randy Watts titled, "October Weakness Might Provide Buying Opportunity," stated that, normally, the stocks have their best performance in the November to April period. In fact, looking back, in the period from 1970 to present, the stock market averaged an above 4% return in the fourth quarter of the year. However, 2024 is an election year, and while still positive, the returns in election years have been muted with the S&P 500 returning 2%. This is greatly below a typical year where returns average over 4% in the fourth quarter. It went on and said that, within the fourth quarter, October tends to be the problem month with a negative return for all three of the major indexes. Typically, this is followed by a recovery in November and December once the election passes. As a whole, the Nasdaq has a tendency to lag the S&P 500 and DJIA in the fourth quarter of election years. Also, looking forward a bit further, once through October, the market moves into the much more historically favorable November through April period for performance. Despite evidence from studies suggesting some validity to the hypothesis, investors should keep in mind that it is only a theory. Before implementing any investing approach, do conduct thorough study. Do your homework and research before adopting any investing method. And with that, it's a wrap. Wishing you a happy Halloween in advance.